Our special guest tonight is fashion designer Grace Chen. Now, Grace has designed clothes, been a designer in New York and LA for 15 years before heading out on her own. She's dressed the political elites in China. She's dressed actresses like Helen Mirren, Oprah Winfrey, Hollywood people. This is a story about culture across nationalities, and it's also a story of women's psyche. And I'm gonna love hearing you tell this audience what you told me. Let's start briefly with your background. You grew up just, a pretty middle-class family, but you loved 40s movies.
Yeah, it's when I was 5 or 6 years old, I started to watch Hollywood movies, which is in the 80s.
Yeah.
It tells my age. And I fall in love with all of those Hollywood actresses, like Greta Garbo, like Elizabeth Taylor. I think still until today, they're the image in my mind that how a woman should look like or should be. It's not about look like. It's that beauty of a perfect woman, who she should be. That the whole thing is just stuck in my mind, and I wanted to devote my life to create that kind of image for everyone.
And what's interesting, it's a lot of Western, it's really a matching Western influence with Chinese design, but you literally never had been abroad until you landed in New York to go to the Fashion Institute of Technology.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But I had this very deep influence by the Western literature and movies and all of those things.
Your father reading books to you, novels, and
yes,
your father.
Yes, and he read all of those foreign literature books to me when I was little. I was very drawn to that. I think I'm very a romantic person. I like to dream about things.
And so you've just opened. You went out on your own, Grace Chen Designs, and you've just opened your store, your boutique in Shanghai.
Yes.
And we were talking about just now, you and I, you said there's more of a design difference between Shanghai and Beijing than Shanghai and New York.
Yeah.
Describe that.
It's like when I moved from New York to LA, I felt like there's more difference between New York and LA than New York and Beijing.
Yeah.
Yes, there's much similarities between fashion in New York and Shanghai, because fashion people in New York and Shanghai, they see fashion as a lifestyle. It's like they dress themselves up for themselves. Even when they go out, they don't see anybody. They still dress nicely. But in Beijing, it's more like they need to go out to see somebody. They dress for other people.
To which I said to her, "Oh, Washington D.C. New York, right?"
Yes.
Yes. So
that's
totally different.
Totally different. See, I live in Beijing for a long time before I went to New York. When I came back to China to set up my own company, I decided I have to locate it in Shanghai, because I feel like Shanghai is a true fashion city. Yeah.
And you have said that luxury is in the DNA of the Chinese culture, which doesn't sound very Maoist to me. So explain that.
Okay, luxury is a modern word. In ancient time, luxury is more like refinement, artisan, craftsmanship, and the romanticism about life.
Yeah.
People like to enjoy fine things. They like to create fine things. Mm-hmm. That's in terms of that, I think China has a very long history of that. And then the whole Western culture, Western fashion, or the whole Western history are very much influenced by Chinese craftsmanship and art and the culture. Especially like when I was, I had this fashion show in London in June last year. We had the show in Lancaster House, which is a very typical palace in the Victorian era. It's such a great opportunity because I said I wanted to show my audience in London that how the two culture has collided into each other. And then I want to, from my fashion show, to show that. Because in Victorian era, the whole new art movement in England was very influenced by Easton culture, like the Art Nouveau, Art Deco, the whole thing. William Morris, right? And then, in China now, we are very influenced by Western culture. Many Chinese love British culture, British fashion. So from a dress, and I will show you guys this dress. From this one dress, the inspiration comes from the British ceramics. But again, the British ceramics is influenced by China.
Yeah. And you also, we've got a little bit of a reel going here to also kind of drive home the point that you have outside influences that affect your designs, like calligraphy. Talk about that.
Calligraphy, I started to practice calligraphy when I was 4 years old. The more I start doing my design, especially now, I feel like the whole aesthetic philosophy ideas are all coming from calligraphy.
How so?
Calligraphy for me is the very modern art form because it's so simple. It's closest to the idea of a modern design or a modern art. It's so simple. It's just black and white. It's just lines. It's just space and proportion. Does that sound like design?
Yeah.
Yes, it sounds like design. So it is exactly, and I feel like the style I'm doing now, like my fashion design style is close. It's very close to the calligraphy style I practiced when I was little. It's very soft. It's very elegant. It's not very avant-garde. Yeah, so it's like I stuck with that style for the whole time. I didn't even know.
So you mentioned the word proportion, and this is where we get into women's psyche. So in the couture world, where you're designing dresses for women, you get to know them pretty well and how they feel about themselves. And you were just describing to me what you've learned.
It's amazing experience. I feel like I'm so lucky that I actually started my collection by doing couture. Couture means you get to know your clients so well. It's like we were talking here. Every one of them become my very close friend because we are sharing very intimate things,
Measurements.
I see you. I see you half naked all the time. So, and we bear our hearts to each other also.
So what do you find out about even powerful women?
I feel like, okay, I have to say it here. The more powerful you become from the world to see you, the more you probably didn't have time to take care of yourself. You probably feel less powerful for yourself.
More insecure about your body.
Yes, more insecure about yourself. And forget about you're a woman. Forget about glamour. Forget about makeups.
So you've sort of discovered late into this journey that you're kind of on a mission to make women feel better.
To empower women, which they totally deserve, because all my clients, all my friends are very successful. They're the best group of the whole world. But meanwhile, they just paying so little attention to themselves. And I think being a woman, actually being a man as well, I think any person, I think the most important thing is to feel good about themselves, to see themselves as an attractive person. Once you have that idea about yourself, basically you can achieve anything. And you become a good mother, you become, you're good at your work. You just become you have this positive energy for anything that you do.
So in your business, you're striving to go beyond couture and to design for a broader range of women.
Yeah, I like you said, I feel like more and more I feel like this is a mission because I see the change the fashion can bring to a person. I always tell people that when I see, like if you're my client, when you put on the dress and see yourself in the mirror, and then you feel like at that defining moment, oh, Grace, I didn't even know I could look like this. Or Grace, you just let me find a new me. Is that something wrong with your mirror? I always tell them, this is you. It's just you just didn't find it. You didn't discover that until today. So fashion is a very empowering thing. And of course, I wanted to bring this to everyone. And then because of the business model or the techniques, we're very, very limited to, I cannot bring this to everyone, but we are developing this technology, this software. Hopefully we can do this for much broader audience.
A broader audience.
Yes.
Well, with that, we have something very special to offer all of you tonight.
Okay.
Madame, we'll get to the
Yeah, I think everyone needs a little glamour in their life.
But this is definitely that sort of fusion of Chinese and
Yes.
40s Hollywood movie.
Yes, it
To
is.
me, that's like the exact
Definitely,
merger.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's very 1940s Hollywood. Hollywood is in my design.
Yeah.
Hollywood and Chinese calligraphy. What a combination. Thank you. Yeah, for this dress, you really have to go to the gym. I'm sorry.
Forget that.
I call this the Ginger Rogers dress. It's all bias cut. It's very 1930s. But of course, we have that color, like the Chinese color, and the details of the Chinese braiding. I love this dress. I really love it. I think this is a good way to modernize the Chinese qipao. And it suits everyone. And she's not Chinese. Are you Chinese girl? You're not. See, but she looks great in it. Yeah.
I think she'd look great in any. Okay.
All right. This again, I have to talk about a little bit more about this dress. This is my idea of modern Chinese beauty. It's very easygoing, and in the same time, it's a little bit of a reserve in it. I know that the reason I came back to establish my own brand after I worked in the US for a long time, is I want to set the record straight about what's Chinese beauty, because in the Western world, Chinese always be seen as very reserved, very limited, very too serious. But it's not. Chinese is very romantic. It's very easy, and it's very, I don't know, it's very, like this one, like this dress. It's not that kind of thing that you would think like the Qing Dynasty outfit, like so restricted. It's not like that. I want everyone to see China as very romantic, very in dreamy land.
Dreamy.
Yes. Poetic.
Poetic. That's
Yeah.
poetic is good.
This is a red carpet gown, and this
I was
really.
just going to say that. Oscars. Okay.
Yeah, the Oscars. Yeah, this is the Oscars. This dress, the inspiration of this dress is coming from Chinese calligraphy. I bet everybody can see that. It's all about proportion and lines and the space, the arrangement of the space. And I love to use fringes because Chinese art, we are emphasizing on qi, which is the floating thing, floating energy. So I always use fringe. I think that's kind of like an extension of your energy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, this is the
MPW stage host dress.
This is the dress I was talking about, the British ceramics, the Victorian era ceramics dress.
So inspired by
Inspired-
Victorian era ceramics.
Yes.
And is the fabric?
The fabric is silk organza. It's very airy. But it's very Chinese at the same time. It shows the lightness of the Chinese culture, the delication of it.
Can I be serious? Like, where would like a normal person wear this?
Oh, actually, I have 2 clients order this dress.
No, but for what though? For like a
They're going
gala?
to, you don't have to wear that big thing I will make you a smaller one. Yes, and you can go to afternoon tea with it. Or many occasions. occasions you can wear this. Yeah, definitely. If you want to wear it, you have an occasion for it, okay?
There you go. Think more like Shanghai versus Beijing.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right. Do I look better or the models look better? I think Nina and me, we look better.
Grace, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Nina. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay.